Okay.
Third time's a charm. Just normal stuff.
Hello, and welcome back to Formation Lab.
Thank you. Good job.
This is our third try. I butchered the last two, so we don't need to
Do you want
talk
to tell
about
them
it.
why?
No, I don't need to tell them why.
It's okay.
I was trying to make a joke about Charles. Anyway.
Didn't land, I
It
guess?
didn't land. It didn't. So, hello and welcome back. Hello, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Is it?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today on the podcast we have our guest star Austin Brass. Thank you for coming to the show. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
Yeah, so we're here today to talk about the Saudi Arabian.
My new film coming out. Promoting it. Oh yeah, that too. We can talk about the GP.
What's your film?
I'm in the new F1 movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, not really. Maybe.
You're in it?
Wait, isn't there a scene in the new movie we saw in the trailer where they're at Monza and they're going really fast? Remember? And we said like pause it, and like we're in the stands somewhere in
that
there?
wasn't for the movie. That was for Drive to Survive, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
If we wanted to try really hard, we might be able to find us in the Monza episode of Drive to Survive.
Well, no, we would just be like a pixel.
Well, yeah, but like we could pretend it's us and feel really good about it. That we're actually on Netflix. So our good friend Liam Lawson helped us get that deal.
Yeah. Thanks.
Liam. Anyway, the Saudi Arabian GP. That's what we're talking about, not Monza.
Yeah.
2025. Thoughts, feelings?
Good. Yeah, we watched it. It was one of the only races, the first race of the season we didn't watch every single lap.
Yeah, like full disclosure, we were at a Red Sox game.
Yeah. The race started 30 minutes before the Red Sox game.
Yeah. To be fair, it kind of looked like a race to be missed. We saw the majority of the action, so yeah, which was happening lap 1, I would say.
Yeah, we saw lap 1 on our phone. So
you want to give
and it was good.
As a Red Bull, as a Max fan, give us your take.
I don't know. It is what it is.
You're taking the Max stance. You say, "Oh, I can't." Yeah, be careful what you say. The FAA could come get you.
Because it's a move Max would have done, and the move Max has pulled where he's in Piastri's spot.
Yeah,
takes the corner and just forces the other driver wide. And I think back, it reminded me a lot of Austin, Texas. The race there when he was battling with Lando Norris, and after the long first DRS zone, he would just force Lando wide. Lando would get in front and then have to immediately give the spot back. So I'm more mad that the FAA got bailed out with a safety car. They should have just instructed Max to give the position back, and then we could have gone racing and maybe. But overall, Max ended up getting second by 2.8 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was a 5-second penalty.
Right.
So
right.
It was the difference.
So for those who watched even less of the race than we did, basically there was an incident on the first turn.
Yep.
Would you say? The first turn of the race where Piastri got a really good start at the beginning.
Yep.
And Max was in first, of course. He was in pole position. And they were basically wheel to wheel up until this first turn where you could debate who was ahead, but they called it the Piastri was, and I think he was like a little bit of ahead on the apex of that turn, and Max had to run completely off the track
to avoid a collision.
Right, to avoid a collision, totally.
So that's why Max is mad, because he says, I should be given the space.
Right. My whole thing was that what I was so surprised about is that usually first lap incidents are written off kind of as racing incidents, right? Like every track, the first lap is going to be a little bit messy. We can't be giving out penalties like left and right based off the first lap because they're having to settle in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's graded differently in the FAA.
Right.
And I saw a video earlier, they were talking about, it was the reporters who were showing the new vantage point that Red Bull gave to the press, where it showed the Red Bull ahead, but it was this photos that can be so misleading.
Yeah.
When it comes to Formula One. But what I found it interesting is they mentioned that the actual rules that the FIA is using is not public. Like we
really?
Yeah, they use this book of, I don't know what it's called, but it's
the FIA Bible.
Yeah, yeah, and no one knows what what's in there but
Wait,
them.
what?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that would just be public knowledge, but just nobody would want to read it because it'd be so boring.
No. It's
Really?
just for their eyes only.
So
So
we as viewers can't even actually review the rules and see if it's valid or not.
no, only whenever they issue like statements. So they'll issue
Wow.
statements about what's in their rule book, and they issued a statement here. They said, the car must be under control. He must be ahead at the apex, and I think there was a third one, but yeah. So that's the only time we get a look inside their big rule book.
Which is so funny. So, like, in theory, they could just change the rules whenever
Well,
they'd want, and we would never know.
that's the point. Is that
Really?
that way they continue to maintain the ability to make decisions on the fly, and inconsistently make decisions. So,
Right.
like, one race it's a 10-second penalty, the next it's a 5-second penalty.
For
So,
no apparent
and if
reason.
that rule book was public, we could just be like, no, you didn't follow the rules.
Right.
It should have been 5. Whereas now, since it's not public, it's private, they just get to say like, oh no, we we get to do this.
That's
Just
actually
because.
crazy.
Yeah.
And I think it's so funny this year too, if people listening don't know that the FIA basically made a rule that you can't
Cuss.
can't cuss, but can't question the FIA.
Yeah.
Like, you can't
Talk bad about
criticize
them.
the calls that they make, which is why in the interview post race, Max is like, "Well, I'm not allowed to talk about it, so like I won't." But like, it's weird vibes that we don't know the rules and we can't criticize them. Like,
Yeah.
that feels just like really bad.
Yeah.
In what universe is there a sport where you don't know what the exact regulations are?
Right.
Very dictatorship.
Yeah.
Very weird. Very, I don't know. Don't
All
love the
my
vibes.
homies hate MBS.
Don't love the
MBS
vibes.
is the head of the FIA.
Yeah.
Um,
But anyway, back
this just
to
turned into like a
I
FIA
know.
slander
We got to be
podcast.
careful. We are.
They're not gonna come after us. Honestly, if they did, like that, I would take it as a compliment.
Fair.
If they
It
came
means
after us.
we matter enough. No, I think
Yeah.
anybody. It's just the drivers and the teams that aren't allowed to criticize.
Right.
Anyway, so the thing that I was really surprised about was the fact that it was a 5-second penalty and not. But is it because of the safety car?
I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So typically in that situation, they would just say, give the place back. It's not going to be a 5-second penalty, which
Yeah.
would have been a lot better for him, I think, than a 5-second penalty.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I don't know. I think. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it is kind of one of the only big things that happened in the race.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's kind of the only thing to talk about.
whoever was ahead and driving in clean air was going to win the race.
Right. So this is a track historically that, like, you basically end where you start again.
Yeah.
Because it's a street circuit. It's thin. It's narrow.
So-
it's not a lot of overtaking is going to be happening.
So Max knows this.
Right.
So he would almost prefer to just never give that spot back and just to continue to ride in clean air.
I guess it just
and then maybe get a 5-second advantage.
yeah.
But
It just felt
that's
very.
not how it happened.
I don't know, very like, I'm not even a Max fan. I'm not glazing on Max or anything. But like, typically the way I've seen those things play out in the past is that, like, it'll just be like, give the place back or racing incident, right? It's not going to be a full blown 5-second penalty for something that, like, if it's a 5-second penalty, sure, whatever. But usually when they make those calls, it's like, it's fairly clear cut, right?
Yeah.
In this instance, I feel like us as viewers are watching that back and being like, I can't really say one way or the other, right? Not 100%. I mean, given people are going back and saying,
Technically,
Max was never going to make that turn in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, he was not setting himself up to actually make the turn. But did he gain an advantage? Yes,
he just kept whenever he missed the turn completely,
Yeah.
he then missed the second turn
right.
and just kept going straight.
Yeah.
And that's where people are saying, like, he gained a big
I'm surprised you're not more upset about this. Do you understand it a little bit better now?
He gets second. No, because I've seen Max do this to other people, right? This exact move that Piastri did. And
And have those people gotten punished for it, though? The people he
and
ran off the track.
Gives a position back kind of thing.
Yeah, but he wasn't given that option.
All right, let's get into fantasy part of this.
Okay, but no, other than that, we do have some good news, or I do have some good news. That Charles Leclerc
got a
podium.
First
Ferrari podium of this season. We are so bad, baby. We are so bad. Well,
I,
shh, just let me
you're
have
gonna
this.
really
No,
like
no,
say
no, no,
we're
no, no,
back.
no, 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 no. Just let me have this.
This is
Just let me have this. Just let me have it. Just, just let me have it.
way too soon. You're
Okay,
not even
listen,
close to
listen.
being
I
back.
don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna celebrate this. That's why I'm wearing my full Ferrari outfit today, all red all the time.
Mhm.
Tifosi, uh, Ferrari, Forza Ferrari.
Yep.
Anyway,
Okay.
how did he do that?
I don't know. He seemed good. Like, just so he had a solid race. Didn't mess any strategy up.
The one thing that
Good
I
pace.
there were some drivers who went really long stints. And I can't remember who they were now. I think Charles was managing tires for a really long time.
Yeah.
Um, so that's
Is that your boom? Let's just go into booms or
yeah,
busts.
it is. It
Okay.
is. Charles is my boom. Boom! It's Charles. I mean, give it because what? What was the starting? George was in third, correct?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody
Well,
expected.
I can't remember. But yeah.
I think it was. Um, it definitely Charles was not in third place. I know that for a fact. So I don't think anybody was necessarily expecting. We've kind of counted out the Ferraris already. Um, so I don't think anybody was actually expecting the Ferrari. Yeah, it was George in third to beat the Mercedes with how the Mercedes has been looking.
Yeah, rough week for Mercedes. I don't know. I guess they just didn't have the pace.
Yeah.
Um,
My honorary mention boom
go
is
ahead.
going to be Williams just
Okay.
as a constructor because
Nice.
I
Yeah.
mean and Carlos, but given he started 6th, ended like 8th, I think, so it wasn't like the best, but Carlos got points. Carlos
I
got
guess.
points.
Yeah. And then your
That's
bust. We'll
Well,
just
give me
do.
your boom.
No, we'll just do your.
Okay,
Yeah.
my bust was George Russell.
Really? Where
Yeah,
was he at?
he ended 5th.
Okay.
He started 3rd, ended 5th. So like not crazy. Like it's not a crazy bust,
Yeah.
but from the way that the season has gone so far, you expect George to be on the podium now, right? Like if
Yeah.
he's not on the podium now, it's a bust.
Okay.
So
High standard for George
yeah,
Russell for
yeah.
you.
I mean, it's like I was gonna say Mercedes as a whole, but I don't know if I think Antonelli did okay. But it's just like Mercedes. I feel like is who do you think's top three? It's McLaren. Mercedes would arguably be second, right?
Hmm.
And then Red Bull.
Yeah.
Kinda. Those
I
seem
guess.
very far apart.
Yeah.
But so you're expecting Mercedes to really like show out every
Hmm.
week, and so when they don't, and when arguably the Ferrari, which is supposedly a worse car, ends up beating you, then I think, yeah, like both your cars, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a bust. What about you?
Boom. I'm gonna go with. Hmm. I'll just do Oscar Piastri.
All right,
Just
all
because
right.
it was a very calm, cool, and collected uh, win, beginning to end. He got a good jump on Max, and then not many people get a jump on Max, and then he was able
Mm,
to finish out the race.
that is true.
People get a jump on the Max and then don't have the pace, or people don't get a jump on him and then do have the pace, or like
Right.
something. He had both, and that is impressive. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, just for all intents and like I said, usually where you start this race is where you end. So
yeah,
for him to even be able to go from P2 to P1 is, yeah, I'll give him that.
yeah. And then my bust is Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had the same criticism with Checo at the end of his career at Red Bull, when even if he was getting in crashes or accidents that weren't his fault, if there were crashes or accidents at the back of the grid, he shouldn't even be there.
Mm,
He shouldn't be squabbling with these lower level teams who are going to be more scrappy and aggressive and less experienced. It's different than running up at the front with Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Piastri. They're going to give you space and they're better drivers. Whereas
well,
some
some
of
of
the
them might not give you space.
right, but then but then the lower down the grid you go, the, sometimes the more prone to crashes there are. So he shouldn't have been even fighting with Pierre Gasly in a turn.
To
And
be fair, that's I think more a testament to Pierre Gasly's
yeah, no,
position than it is
and
Sonoda's.
I'll need to look at the incident to see whose fault it actually was. But you shouldn't even be there. So, and I even like people say, the Red Bull's not that good this year, but like he was still like 9/10 off Max Verstappen in qualifying, almost a whole second,
I
which is
know, but I
which
just
is which is an
I know.
incredible amount of time in Formula One.
Yeah.
9/10 doesn't sound like a lot in a lot of motorsports, but in Formula One, that is a mile off.
Yeah. Like literally probably. Um
So
yeah.
I'm
It's tough though because I feel like comparing anybody to Max is just
yeah,
not fair.
right, right, but
Max is like on a whole other level. Like he shouldn't. Max arguably shouldn't be up there. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But Sonoda was eighth. Like he started eighth at least. That's not
yeah.
terrible.
Max is fighting for the win, and
Okay,
he's fighting to get barely into points.
but historically in that second seat, eight is
I,
not bad.
no, you got to do
Yeah.
better than that.
But like I said, I feel like
Sonoda's
it's
not the rookie that Lawson is,
true.
and or yeah. So like yeah, you got
Because
to
eight qualifying eighth for Sonoda was like good. Like it was looking like it could be a decent weekend.
yeah.
But then it turns out Max is the only one scoring points for Red
Yep.
Bull. So
Okay.
so you're not so happy with your
No,
second
and
driver.
you will okay, yeah, and he took out for fantasy wise. I put in
Ooh.
Alpine this week.
Yeah, let's
I put
talk
in
fantasy.
Alpine as my constructor
And you had Pierre
and Pierre
Gasly.
Gasly. So those are my two free swaps,
Yikes.
and I'm pretty sure I took negative points for both of those. So
Yeah.
uh,
Let's see.
kind of
Let's see.
ruined my fantasy week.
Yeah, yeah. You got a negative 17 from Gasly and a negative 6 from Alpine.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you might have done pretty okay.
right. So
So
and
you
then you, how did you? I got fifth overall in the league, which isn't bad. And
oh,
then you,
actually I lied. You got Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in all races. Hold on. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you got fifth, and this week I got third.
okay,
So I
I'm not
don't.
that far off from you, but
No, no. Although points wise, you got 159. I got 202.
wow, okay.
So the top three in our league right now, extremely competitive. Extremely
Shout
competitive.
out the
So
winner of this week.
number one winner, the one who gets to wear the crown this week
We'll mail it
is
to you.
team. Yeah, we'll mail it. Commit Max Evasion.
Yeah.
Surprisingly. So
Woo.
the point scorer on that team, as you may guess, is Max Verstappen.
Mm,
The double actually ended up scoring more points than Oscar Piastri because he started on pole position.
nice.
So it's interesting. Even though Oscar won the race, he scores you 2 less points than Max did this week. Isn't that weird?
That is.
Or just one, I guess, if you don't have the 2 time. So Max Verstappen was the big point scorer there, and of course McLaren. If you don't at this point have McLaren as one of your constructors,
Right.
what are
Are
you
you
even
even like
doing?
trying to be competitive?
Probably not. Probably not. And so that was 210 points. Pretty good for this weekend.
Well, I
And
guess. Sorry, but
no.
fantasy. I maybe there is a way in which you don't have McLaren, but you have both the McLaren drivers, and then you build a team from that.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you a different strategy that's maybe not working so well, but I want to give a shout out to our second place for this week, which
Yeah.
is Team Lollipop Man.
Nice.
208. So
Nice.
hear me out here. These are the scores. Number 1, 210. Number 2, 208. 2 points off.
Yeah.
Me, 202.
Nice.
So the top 3
very close.
competitive.
Yeah.
But anyway, talking about a different strategy you could go with, the person this week, the All Right Guys, Team All Right Guys, who was in last place, was definitely taking a different strategy, which is prioritizing drivers over constructors, and they did get last place, so it's not working.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
No offense, I don't mean to roast, but because I was interested to see how this would do. We've got Piastri, Russell, Albon, Sonoda, and Hajar. Unfortunately, maybe if Sonoda had performed a little bit better this week, that might have looked a little bit better. But then the constructors being Racing Bulls and Alpine. So we'll see. I think actually the All Right Guys team has done pretty all right in previous races, but with Sonoda this week, it was a bit of a bust.
Yeah. On to next week. What are we looking at? We're in Miami, which will be
not next week. Actually, we have
a week off next race, and then we will be off into a street circuit, which goes around the Hard Rock Cafe Stadium.
Yep.
So,
Sorry.
we should be fine. If
There's a
someone's
fire alarm going off in someone else's apartment. Anyway, yes. So we are off next week after this triple header. We get a little bit of a breather, and then we'll be the first U.S. of the
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
season, right? Which is Miami. A street circuit, like you said. 19 corners. Seems like a lot, right?
I don't know.
I don't know
I
how
don't know
many are
what's a
in
lot
others,
or what's a
but
little, but
19 seems like a lot. 3 DRS zones.
19 does seem like a lot.
There's some elevation changes in this one, so that should be nice and fun. The top speed, 211 miles per hour, so it's pretty fast
Very fast.
in certain areas. And notably, if you'll remember, last year, this is where Norris won his first race ever.
Yeah.
So he's historically done really well here.
Okay.
So last year, our top 3 was Norris, Max, and Leclerc. So we'll see if Leclerc can maybe pull out some more stuff coming off the momentum of this week and see how that goes. I'm imagining, I don't know, I'm imagining tire deg might be something pretty important. Miami's pretty hot right now, I would say.
No clue.
So we'll see.
I have no clue on the strategy until like I watch the weekend warm up, and then all the analysts and come, they tell me.
Oops, Austin dropped his mic.
And then they tell me what to think. And then what to...
I mean, if I was gonna guess, I might be totally off. I imagine it's still pretty hot in Miami this time of year.
Always depends on the track surface. Sometimes they update the compounds of the tires.
True.
So it depends.
So we'll see. I don't know what it was last year. Wait, was it a one stop that helped Norris win?
No. You're just speculating.
Okay. I'm pretending like I know things. But unfortunately, because this was over a year ago, I do not have the most solid memory of it, even though we did watch Drive to Survive not that long ago. But so that's the week ahead. I mean, this one was a short one. Apparently not a whole lot to talk about, because once that first lap was over, there really wasn't much else to write home about.
Mm-hmm. And then, you want to close it out?
Well, I opened it, so
okay,
it's only fair.
Set your fantasy lineups.
Yeah, please remember to do that.
And the lap's been formed.
See you next time.